Welcome to Fantasy Plus. We're more than a third of the way through the fantasy season. It's week 7. I'm Aaron Lafferty, joined with Phil Pinarski, Alec Giannakopoulos. We're here to get you through the week. Guys, how are we feeling after that last week 6?
Terrible. To put it bluntly, terrible.
I'm going to be honest. I was on a honeymoon all last week, so I didn't watch a lot of football. I monitored a lot of football from a distance, but there wasn't a lot of pigskin in my life last week. So great. And I woke up on Monday or whatever, and I won in our league. So great there, too. So it's been good. It's been a good week.
Wonder who you beat.
It's okay. I also lost this week in our league, but I won in the other league. So, it balances out.
I guess, yeah.
Balances out a little bit.
Raiders got to win. I'll take that, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah, right.
A win is a win. Phil.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at those week 6 headlines. Patrick Mahomes looking like old school Patrick Mahomes, leading the fantasy league at quarterback number 1. Bijan helped Jack in one league. Didn't help him in the other league.
Couldn't help him here.
George Pickens, number 1. Makes sense with CeeDee Lamb out.
Yep.
And then Dallas Goedert gets the respectable yardage as tight end 1. And another week, these are new injuries. This isn't like I keep putting the same names up there. We got Nakua's out, Ibuka's out, Harrison's out. Those are the 3 big wide receivers. There's other wide receivers that got hurt. Plus David Njoku got hurt. There's quite a few injuries that we're tracking and watching and got to keep an eye on. There's a lot lingering here as we head into the next week.
And these are all big name guys, too.
Yeah.
It's, these are guys that fantasy teams have placed a lot of emphasis on and, hoping to really carry them throughout the season. I know I have been plagued with the injury of CeeDee Lamb this entire season, basically. And, he was my number 1 pick. So, I've been kind of dealing with that. But again, I just feel like these lists, every time we do them, it's more and more big names.
Yeah, they're stacking up. And I'm in one league especially where my first 2 running backs are down, and now it's just time to go in front of a whiteboard and go, okay, I can move this guy for this. It's trade time.
Right.
And my advice early on is if the waivers are bad, and most likely they're bad at this stage, start making deals. And I don't care if you think you're the one losing these trades. We're trading for desperation because you're not going to be able to win a league. Let's say you had CD and Puka. Somehow those are your first 2 receivers. They're both down, although CD could be coming back soon.
Right.
Now's the time to trade. Now's the time, if you want to stay in this thing, see where you have assets, move them, and I don't want to say panic sell, but get something in return to keep yourself in it.
Trade from your position of strength. If you've got extra wide receivers, trade for a running back.
And there are some of us who have no spots of strength. And even then, pick your best player.
Yeah, right. And
nothing's more valuable, and I mean this, than turning in, let's say you have a really good running back, and that's your entire team. Turn your running back 1 into a running back 2 and a receiver 2. Because they'll combine probably for more points than your running back 1, and you still have some viability there in the world of fantasy.
We got 2 teams on a bye this week, Buffalo and Baltimore. You might not have been playing a lot of Ravens, but you probably were playing some Bills.
Sure were.
And maybe you were targeting the Ravens as a defense to target for your offensive players.
Oh, man, look at next week, though.
Next week is the bipocalypse. Bipocalypse next week. 6 teams on a bye next week. So start thinking ahead, whether it's trading or waivers or something. Detroit, Las Vegas, the Rams, the Cardinals, the Seahawks, and the Jaguars, all on bye next week.
Yeah.
So plan ahead. If you come at us next week and you're like, what? No, we've been telling you for several weeks, be prepared for week 8. Be prepared. You can start panicking now. It's okay. Thursday night, Steelers-Bengals.
Yeah, the grandpas are going at it.
The grandpas, the Icy Hot Bowl, the ARP.
Icy Hot Bowl.
Yeah, that was from Gavin.
Get some good stretches in before these 2 guys drop back.
I don't think we've said his name for 2 weeks, so here we go. Aaron Rodgers against Joe Flacco.
What is it, 2015?
Yeah, the line is Pittsburgh 5.5, and the over/under has actually gone up to 44.5. It was 42.5 when I made this graphic.
Look, I mean,
you're starting your Steelers, right?
Yeah, you're starting Steelers. I know DK's had a pretty good year so far. You start Steelers because they have an offense that can score. They have an offense that can do things. Man, and you're probably holding on to Jamar, and you're praying this figures itself out with Flacco because you took Jamar at this value, and you're always going to play your guy that you picked in the first round, and for many leagues, 1-1. But you saw the over there, or the over-under, I should say. I don't think we should expect the most high-powered offensive game here when the line's at 42.5. But there are still points to be made here.
What
AFC North battle.
What are we getting with some of these games,
Oh, man.
I mean, I think it's going to be, again, you don't want to maybe rely too much on the Bengals offensive stars. I mean, you probably are going to play them anyways, but you shouldn't really rely on them. You know, I played Pittsburgh's defense last week, and that actually helped me. So I've got a lot of faith in that defense to, again, maybe we do see many points scored, but it might just be on Pittsburgh's side of things.
We've got some rain in the forecast for some games this week. Meteorologist Scott Larson has a preview of the weather for Week 7.
Kicking off Week 7, nearly halfway through the NFL season, as Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers will be taking off against Joe Flacco and the Bengals there in Cincinnati at Paycor Stadium. Mostly clear skies Thursday evening, temperature in the mid to upper 50s. Looks like the weather won't have too much of an impact on that game. As we turn our attention across the pond, we have more international football. The Rams are going to be facing off against the Jaguars there at Wembley Stadium. Kind of an interesting setup in that the area where the fans sit is going to be under a roof. However, the playing surface itself is exposed to the elements, and there is a chance of some rain, so that could make an impact on the game there in England. Taking a look at futurecasts, we anticipate a system to move through this weekend. That's going to have some impacts on Grand Rapids, as well as much of West Michigan with a healthy chance of rain. It'll also affect some of our Sunday early games, as there is still a lingering chance of a shower with the Saints taking on the Bears. Also, the Dolphins are going to be facing off against the Browns, and there's a really good chance of rain at that one. So make sure that you're planning accordingly with your rosters for that, probably favoring the run game in that situation. You can see that we have quiet conditions for the remainder of the games, a little cool, temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Raiders against the Chiefs. We have the Eagles indoors against the Vikings. Afternoon games look to mostly be indoors. Partly cloudy skies in Denver as the Giants will be facing off against the Broncos. Taking a look at our Monday night matchups, of course, we have the Lions. They're going to be playing host to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Baker Mayfield. Looks like they'll have mostly clear skies as folks are walking into the stadium. No weather impacts expected in the Dome there at Ford Field. And the Texans will be facing off against the Seahawks. A pretty good chance of rain there in Seattle. Looks to make for some impacts on the game, and it'll also be rather breezy.
All right, thanks, Scott. Thanks for keeping an eye on all the weather out there for us. Definitely, as we head into the fall season, we're seeing a lot more weather showing up in our fantasy forecast. We've got a big week, Week 7. There it is, popping it up. Thursday night we talked about. We've got the London game, the Rams at the Jaguars. The Jaguars love to play in London. That's your Sunday morning game. Should be a decent matchup. You got some star power there. Keep an eye on Nakua since it's an early Sunday morning game and they're traveling. Will he travel? Even if he does travel, does he play? You got backup wide receivers there, possibility. Your Bears there, Alec, are playing the Saints. I'm sure you're excited about that, licking your chops on that one.
We're favorites for the first time, probably since I was in college, so that feels nice.
Chicago 4.5 point favorite at home.
Looking at this slate here, I think if we're looking for games to really earn some fantasy points, I love the clash between Washington and Dallas. I think Washington was really impeded by a rainy, kind of nor'easter-affected game Monday night, and they lost a game they should have won. And I think they're going to really attack a defense in Dallas that's been very generous to anyone who's wanted to play them. But that Commanders defense also, I don't think, is fully proven yet. And we've seen now, especially George Pickens, and Javonte Williams, Cowboys really delivering. So I think there is plenty of fantasy points to be had in that battle.
Yeah.
There's a couple big matchups there. The Chiefs, the Raiders. I mean, you're probably playing your Chiefs against Phil's Raiders.
Definitely playing your Chiefs.
Yeah, you should.
I think Rashee Rice is coming back.
Yes, that's what I was gonna mention,
Congratulations to those guys who are holding on to Rashee Rice. It is your Christmas.
Right.
And what's so much different than that, and I think sometimes people get confused in that, it's like, it's not an injury. This guy's been training and getting ready and going over playbooks, and he will hit the ground running because he wasn't hurt. He was just waiting for his chance to get back out there. So, congratulations to those who drafted and stashed. So the Vikings are interesting. And for Justin Jefferson owners, I have him in this league, it's just like, who's going to get him the ball and can we start doing it? Because it's been happening here and there, but not to the level you wanted when you drafted him in the first round.
Have you thought at all about possibly getting rid of Justin Jefferson, or maybe trying to get a big haul for trading him just based off the quarterback play around him.
And I don't even know if you'll get a big haul because I
Yeah.
think there's so many questions around him. You'll get a good return because the
Right.
floor is always going to be there. No matter who the quarterback is, they're going to throw it to Justin Jefferson. But he is not playing like the guy you took in the middle of the first round. So you're not going to get a guy back who is the value of a guy you would take now in the first round if you started doing a draft. So you are kind of selling a little bit, but I wouldn't be afraid to do it. I think that's a great question. I wouldn't be afraid to start offloading Justin Jefferson if you feel like you need depth, a different kind of running back as a starter, quarterback, what have you. I certainly think it's smart to put him on the table, especially for a team that needs a receiver with a high floor.
For a second, I thought we were going to get an on-air trade.
Yeah,
there.
right. One game I am really excited about is that Monday night game, Tampa Bay and Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
I think, we'll get to obviously our plus picks in a little bit, but that Lions back end, Baker's having an MVP season right now, and we know Detroit can score points. So
I'm going to steal a joke, but the Lions defense went from a Detroit-style pizza to a pan pizza because there are no corners on that team right now. And I think there's going to be a player on the Bucs who succeeds through the air because Baker is having an MVP caliber season. Who is it going to be?
Right.
Abuka's out. I know they're rushing to get Evans back out there. We don't know if he'll be able to get out there. If he is, load him up because someone has to catch a football back there.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of other guys under those two big receivers that are
You got Johnson and Johnson.
the two Johnson.
You
Right.
got
There's
Shepard.
options.
Yeah.
But you're just guessing at this point. I
Yeah.
don't think there's anything through those three you look at and go, yeah, I feel great that he'll be the one who gets 20 points today.
You're throwing darts.
You
You're
are.
totally throwing darts. The Colts and Chargers is definitely a good NFL game. Pretty good fantasy game. I mean, obviously the Chargers are trying to get healthy on the offensive line.
Big time.
It was either Haskins or Vidal. I chose right in one league. Colts offensive line is good.
But that's the other thing that really stinks about fantasy. You chose right for 1 week. Watch it be Haskins the next
Right.
week.
Right.
Like, it's just
Right.
so goofy when it comes to, like, waiting for a guy like Hampton to get back out there.
Sometimes it depends on who's available too.
Yep.
I do like the Colts against the Chargers
Yeah.
defense, but again, it's kind of like what we've been saying. You might pick the right guy this week, but probably not going to have that same kind of production in the next week.
The teams that are giving up the most points in overall, just NFL points, the Ravens, number one. They're not playing this week. The Cowboys are number two. So probably playing your
I
Washington.
love that
Deebo
matchup.
Samuel.
You already said that. Number three is the Bengals. They're playing the Steelers. Number four is the Dolphins. So you could target the Dolphins,
Yeah,
but you
fire
got
up
the
the
Browns.
Browns,
But you got the
baby.
Browns. So maybe the Browns running game, right?
Sure.
And then number five is the Jets. They give up the fifth most points, and the Titans are sixth. So
And Carolina has actually been a decent source of points.
Right.
I mean, we saw Ted McMillan have a couple good
right.
weeks.
And obviously we had two big Rico Dowdle weeks.
Yeah.
So there's some teams you can target if you're desperate, like potentially the three people that are on the screen right now, and you're trying to scrape together a win and work the trades and work the waivers and see what we can do. Coming up next, we are going to take a look at the survivor pool with the three that are left and look ahead to this coming week in our league. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Fantasy Plus, the Survivor Pool. Let's jump into the Survivor Pool. Here we are. I got the Packers. The Packers got me through. I was worried because the Packers had taken out three people this season. already. So, but I felt pretty good. They were playing the Bengals.
Good choice.
Good choice. Jack took the Colts and barely made
Yeah.
it.
That was a it looked like a Cardinals dub until the very end there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he did say bad teams find ways to lose.
It's
And
true.
he paid off for that. And then, Alec, your Rams were ahead for the whole game?
That one was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
it's a
Holding-
Ravens team that, man, that's
holding
rough.
them down. Yeah.
Tough
Target-
go-aways there.
target those teams. You can't pick the Ravens this week, everybody. You can't pick them this week. So here's where we stand. Here's who we've picked. There's a team on there that hasn't been picked by anybody.
I feel good. I hope we didn't pick the same teams again.
I'm going to unveil it. Here we go. Taking the Patriots.
Smart.
Okay.
I thought about it.
Taking Vrabel against his old team.
Yeah,
they
it's
just
gonna
fired
be
their
a-
coach. Callahan's gone after 1-5.
But you have to always account for, I mean, I think you're fine, but there's always that weird, like, rally a team gets when their coach gets canned.
Yep.
And you never know, and it's something that, like, I feel like football and sports science can't understand.
Right.
Yeah.
But these teams sometimes rally when their guy is gone. I think you're fine, but you never know.
I went back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, do we think this may be kind of a revenge game for Mike Vrabel, too?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Big time?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the Titans, what did I say earlier? The Titans are the 6th in the league of giving up points. So I'm hoping that this one pays off and it's done early. It's a 1 o'clock game, just like Jack's pick. He took the Chiefs.
We do the same teams again?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Hey, great minds, right? Great minds think alike.
something like that.
Yeah.
We saw how good that Chiefs team looked against Detroit, and I was afraid to pick the Chiefs really all season. Peace and love, Phil. That Raiders team does not seem like they're going to beat the Chiefs.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Again, I enjoyed watching the game last week because I was like, okay, this defense looks like it's really putting together, and then you realize, oh, okay, they're playing the Titans.
So,
And if you're not going to pick the Chiefs this season, I mean, you got to pick them when they're playing Vegas, right?
Yeah.
That's like the one team they play them twice. You got 2 chances to pick them, and you're probably going to guarantee a win.
Phil, can we get the Raiders to knock these two out?
just give it to Aaron.
Maybe in the next matchup they play. This one, again, I don't think so. I think you got Kansas City riding super high off that big win on prime time. And then you've got a Vegas team that, again, they got the win. You know, you might think that gives them some momentum. I've seen enough Raiders games to know that this is all a fluke and that this is maybe fool's gold a little bit. I do not think they've gotten anything figured out. I mean, you saw so many times on both sides of the ball, they just looked so lost out there. But again, it was lucky enough they were playing Tennessee. Otherwise, that could have been a completely different ball game.
Yeah, we're going against the two teams that played each other last week.
Yeah.
So that's how we feel about that matchup.
Right. Any other games that I considered? Alec, you even asked me. I considered the Bears because they're playing the Saints at home.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
It's a survivor
I considered
pool.
it.
Yeah, you can consider it. It's
Ja-
still the Chicago Bears.
Jack said he considered the Bears.
Yeah, I did
That's one of
not.
his picks. I also considered the Steelers because they're playing the Bengals.
Sure.
But it's a short week. It's in Cincinnati.
Anything can
I
happen
don't
there.
like that. I considered Carolina against the Jets. We talked about that a little bit earlier.
Yeah, and we all picked the Packers at this point, right? So we can't pick Packers
Yeah.
over the Cardinals. That one feels pretty good.
But for those that are in the survivor pool outside of ours,
Yeah.
that's a good pick.
Honestly, Commanders, I really think they're going to be fired up after losing that game to Chicago. I do think they're a solid pick, even though they're at Dallas.
Dallas gives
and
up a lot of points.
They sure do.
I think we made some good picks. We'll see. See if we keep going. I at least still have the Chiefs as an option. Plus player of the week, plus or minus. What player on your team or any team, doesn't have to be on your team, do you think is going to be a good player to play this week in fantasy? Phil,
Yes.
you're first.
Yeah,
You're
I
up.
mean, we touched on it a little bit earlier. This is just a backup pick, but I think, again, pick any Buccaneer receiver probably. You probably are going to have a good week out of them, especially just with the back half of that Lions defense just decimated with injuries, and now Brian Branch being out for that game as well. But the guy I'm going to go with, and we touched on how bad Miami's defense has been and giving up a ton of points, and they've given up the most rushing yards this season as well, which is why I'm going with Quinshon Judkins of the Cleveland Browns. I think he's shown a lot of flashes. I really like him as the focal running back for the Cleveland Browns. I think he has had good weeks before. I think he's only going to have an even bigger week now playing against that really bad Miami Dolphins rush defense. So if I had to pick anybody to just kind of pop off, maybe have, over 100 yards rushing, maybe a touchdown or two, and then maybe even get a little bit more involved in the receiving game.
Alec, your plus player of the week?
I love a good shootout. I've been talking about this game all day. I think if you're going to be invested in that Cowboys-Commanders game, you are looking good. And I'm not sure if we will see CeeDee Lamb this week. I do think if he does roll out there, he'll be on some kind of limited role. So I would say if you got George Pickens, you already were going to start him. He might be your receiver one this week. I just see a shootout. I see both teams answering touchdown with touchdown. I see a lot of volume for Pickens. I see a touchdown in his future potentially, at the very least, a high target, high floor with a really high ceiling day. And I think to that degree, I wouldn't be afraid of the potential return of CeeDee yet. Next week, 2 weeks from now, maybe, if he's back and he's at a full capacity. But right now, it's still Pickens' team in terms of fantasy points. Ride that as long as you can.
All right, so we've seen Alec pick more than one player the week before. So I'm going to go with, if he plays, if he's back, Terry McLaurin against the Cowboys. But because he may not play, I'm going to officially go with DK Metcalf. Yep, I'm doing it. DK Metcalf. Let's go DK against the Bengals in Thursday night. Start DK. Him and Rodgers seem to have everything hooked up and ready to go, and they are connecting. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll update you on how we're doing in our leagues. Not great.
I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
Yeah.
The other two here in this
Yeah.
in this box that I'm
Well,
sitting in.
We're
I don't
carrying
know.
down the show right now,
We
honestly.
don't have winning records, but
Hey,
anyways. But
500 is good.
That's just this league. We're in multiple leagues, so
Yeah.
there you go. We'll be right back, and also don't forget the overtime questions coming up. Welcome back to Fantasy Plus. We're trying to get through the league and the teams that we have to face each week. There you go. The boss lost. Let's
Tough
start
look
there. I'm in the middle there. Gavin, I congratulated him in person, and I'll do it on the show as well. I think he had the highest score of the week, so congrats, Gavin, getting your 4-2 team against my 1-5 team. I'm number 1 points against.
Oh,
Brian's number 2 points against. Jack's number 3 points against. You guys are 7 and 8 points
all right,
against.
we're in the middle. It
But,
feels good.
So Mike, thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. The
Reigning champion.
defending
Mike.
champ with
Yeah.
a 2.2 win.
Man, with a lot of help from Cam
Yeah.
Scatterbo. That makes sense.
And then page 2, Laney takes out Jack after his proclamation that he was going to win last
That
week.
is crazy
Yeah,
close.
I don't know if you like. It was the Josh Allen pick at the end
Yeah.
of the game that did him in, and
Yeah.
all he needed was one field goal from Washington to
Right.
put it away, and they did not kick in the fourth quarter. So he lost a heartbreaker in the
Yeah.
sports
Yeah.
department and is 1-5.
I love that Laney got 35 points from Cameron Dicker, the kicker, and the Vegas defense. I love that.
Yeah. Hey, like you said earlier, a win is a
The
win.
win's a win.
Exactly.
That's all that matters.
Alec, Phil was talking last week about how he's beat both Jack and I, and then he was facing you. So
Hey,
I would like to point out, I did
2
not
for
say
3.
I was going to win.
No,
I-
you didn't. You didn't. You
I
didn't.
held firm for the
Yep.
sports department.
Yep.
Shout out to Devon Achan.
Yeah.
I have been a man without country since the turf toe injury of Brock Purdy. So Bryce Young, appreciate you. I stacked him with Tet McMillan.
Yep.
And then the Rams got to play. They got the fun job of playing the Ravens. So that was pretty much how that went.
You know, you had Brock Purdy in, I think, still on Sunday morning.
I
and I
know.
was really thinking, okay, please, Lord, if you're listening, let him forget about this.
It was Sunday morning,
Yeah.
and we're getting off the cruise ship, and I finally had Wi-Fi, and I was like, "Oh, no,
Yeah.
can't do that."
Yeah.
Get up there, Bryce.
Yeah.
And then Matt breaks his losing streak by beating Brian, the highest scoring team in the league, with a not so great score this week. But
Tough week there for
You
Brian.
know.
It's okay. I have him this week. He'll kill me. It's fine.
Brian's 4-2, and he's still second in our.
Man, look at the
Division.
West.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I'm 3-3, and I'm second in the last. It's a war out there.
Yeah.
But it's one game back. That's what matters. How you feeling, Aaron?
4-2 teams. Hey, you know what? In my other 2 leagues, I won.
Right.
I've got great records.
Guys,
so
he
it's
knows
okay.
what he's talking about. You
Yeah.
can still watch the show, even though his team is 1-5. We
Can
promise.
Can we get that on camera?
Hi, everyone. This is WOODTV Sports' Alec Giannakopoulos here to say that Aaron Lafferty does know what he's talking about. Please listen to him, despite the fact that his team in our fantasy league is 1-5.
Right. And part of that is, thank you, by the way.
Not a problem.
We say it every week. If you get the right matchup, you hit. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get scored 739 points against you for the season. The next closest is Brian with 711. So, yeah. I mean, just remember a couple weeks ago, I was talking about how I lost. I had all these points and, whatever. Here's my. I don't need an ISO, but I'll just say, if you're like me and you're 1-5, just play spoiler.
Yeah.
Just start taking out the teams that think they're going to make the playoffs, or the teams that sit back and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm 5-1, I'm doing great." No, you can play spoiler on these guys because we got the big bye week coming up next week. You got injuries and other bye weeks. You can start just being the spoiler.
Yeah.
You can be the Joker of the league and just cause some chaos.
That's right. Please keep
Pick up
filling
people.
out your lineups.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do not give
Yes.
up on your fantasy
Yeah.
team. Because I'm not sure
The worst leagues are when people just give up.
It's the worst. Keep filling. The minimum you can do is make your lineup. Make some trades.
Yeah.
You're 1-5. You're 0-6. Whatever. I'm 1-5 in a league. I'll say it. Now that we're all being honest with each other, make trades. Whatever. Have some fun. I mean, in your league too, Aaron. Look at how many guys are 2-4.
Yeah.
I mean, you could still. Anything is possible. The one thing you do know if your team is 1-5 or 0-6 is that your team is bad. So do what you can with that information. Trade some guys around. Change it up. Don't run the same lineup every week. Go on waivers.
Right.
The world's your oyster. Let's have some fun with it. Please don't be the person who's down 0-6, 1-5, 2-4, and going, I don't want to set my lineup. Whatever. It's over. Because you're just giving free wins, and there's nothing fun about that.
Here's another stat because I like stats. I'm
Yeah.
a stats person.
Okay.
Alec, in 2023, you were 8-6.
Sure.
In 2024, you were 6-8.
Ooh.
This season, you're 3-3. In our league, you are 500.
I love it.
Exactly 500 at this point in the season.
I am the bar.
You're
Yeah.
exactly
I'm the
500.
standard. If you're better than me, you are good at fantasy football. And if you're worse than me, you're bad at fantasy football.
17-17 so far in the league.
You know what? Being consistent is one of the most overlooked values in life.
Exactly.
Absolutely. If you have questions, want to show us your lineup and see if we can help you with the bye week coming, especially,
Be happy to.
email us, fantasyplus@woodtv.com, or hit us up on X, Twitter. Here's our overtime question. What preseason take are you celebrating? What take from the preseason are you celebrating? I actually have one that I'm going to play a clip. Drake May, quarterback. He's my quarterback 11. If you look at it, he only played 13 games last year. He was quarterback 22 in 13 games. He rushed 7.8 yards per carry.
Wow.
If you can get that out of a quarterback, and now he's got Stephon Diggs, there's a possibility.
Right.
If you miss on the top tier guys, right? Let's say we talked about on the show, the first show, you know, you don't want to take a first round quarterback because you're going to miss on other positions. So Drake May could be an option for you. The player that you were like, yes,
So
or no.
Right.
I would say I'm a 2 for 3er here.
Okay.
My favorite part of the fantasy draft window was picks like 7 to 10, because in that window you can get you could have gotten 3 guys: Emeka Egbuka, Roma Dunze, and Matthew Golden. Now Golden we're waiting on. I'm not gonna give up on him, but these first 2 late round picks that I was hammering in my drafts are receiver 1s. Maybe receiver 2s, depending on where you're putting them. I knew those guys were talented. I felt good about the offenses they were in, and I'm celebrating that the fact that they are guys that you can reliably start now every week. And there's nothing like getting a pick like that in that middle to late round. That can win you a draft in a season. I need a couple more picks than the Odunze one we have in our league to win a season, but it helps. And those were the guys I was really high on, and it's good to see the fact that I was so far right on those guys.
I mean, if I had to pick like one pick that I made or something, then the preseason that I thought kind of came true, I guess it would be the decision to draft Justin Herbert. I know some people didn't think that he was going to really command the offense, or they weren't going to be throwing as much. They were going to be mainly running. But I think, especially in that first week against the Chiefs, I mean, Justin Herbert was the reason I won that first game. And he's been very consistent throughout the season, you know, getting at least 20 points every single game. So if I had to pick anybody, I guess it'd be him, maybe.
If they can get that offensive line healthy,
Yeah.
they'll probably
Yeah,
bounce
that's
back.
the other thing. He's doing this with a bad offensive line
Sure
right
is.
now.
Yeah.
And no help from the run game. He had a little bit of help last week, but for the most part.
And that's it for the week. Fantasy Plus, we appreciate you watching. Thanks to Alec, thanks to Phil, thanks to Corey, thanks to Rob, thanks to Mark, thanks to everybody out there that's watching. We
Thanks to
appreciate
Aaron
it.
for doing the show.
Yes.
Thank you.
Our host.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you next time on Fantasy Plus. Appreciate you watching.